We're live. Boom. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another joint stream between Sam and I. And today we are looking at the Premier League final weekend, game week 38. It's finally arrived. It's been a long old slog of a season, game after game, COVID after COVID, but we are back and we are going to end the season with a big prediction video because there's so much to play for. The Champions League, the Europa League, and don't forget the Europa League Conference. But first and foremost, Sam, we're back. The last weekend of Premier League football. And of course, for you, as a Chelsea fan, there's a lot riding on this one, isn't there? How are you feeling going into the final game week 38 season?
I think the best thing to say is I feel a little bit nervous. But the thing is, it is in our own hands, which is the best thing about it. We're not in Leicester's position where we need goal difference. We are a point ahead. So if anyone drops points, Chelsea hopefully should be able to go through. That is the plan. But I am very, very nervous. And let's see what everyone's predictions are and stuff like that today.
You must be playing a really good team if you're nervous, Sam. Just remind me who Chelsea are playing going into that final weekend. Just that.
I don't know. It's some minor team. It's proper some minor team. But you know what Chelsea are like.
Wow. We'll see. We'll remember that. Remember that, guys. Minor team. Let's see. But let's see who's in the chat with us tonight and see how people are feeling. And we have Real Tom in here, saying big up Real Tom. We got Wilco, of course, in here. And we got Jordan Spence, and I like this sort of prologue it's going. And he's got and it's 8:15, kicking off your weekend right now, coming to you live from the 1950s in Huddersfield, Yorkshire. The one, the only, Sam Redgate-Large. Running out of breath there. There he is. That's like for a boxing charity match, isn't it, Sam? That's what I can hear. You know,
that's what we need. We need Jordan to be the announcer. There we are. We've got our announcer.
Absolutely. Max Gamer 15's in the house. Big up, Max. We got Jonathan who's saying hi, Josh. Hi, Sam. Big up to you both. We got Oliver Chat Sports in here. New name. Nice, Oliver. And I hope you're well. We got Fraser in the house as well. And great to see you. And who else we got? We got Lewis Johnson, the two Johnsons in here. Big up, Lewis. Lots of love, lots of support. And of course, Farhan is in here as well. And Sam and I must give credit to Farhan because he has made our fantastic thumbnails today. So do make sure you check out LCFC Farhan if you haven't done so already. And Max is pointing out Chelsea playing Villa. They are. And if anyone doesn't know, I support Villa. And if anyone doesn't know, Sam supports Chelsea. And we're looking forward to that one. And it'll be good to see you all. And Goals Laguna's in here. A good friend of mine saying, even Josh, even Sam, let's get into it. Absolutely. So I thought we'd start with the minor games. I say the minor games, the games that don't have any real importance because, let's get them out of the way sort of thing. So I thought, let's start this off, guys. Let's start this off with an absolute belter of a game. I'm sure you're all buzzing for it. And it is, of course, Sheffield United versus Burnley. That you should be able to see on your screens right now. Now, this game, Sam, of course, if there was some form of, Premier League relegation scrap, this could have been an absolute belter. But we know that Sheffield United were done and dusted months ago, and Burnley under Dicey got it safe. But listen, when let's go to the standings first of all of these two teams. When you look at Burnley's position, sitting in 17th, what have they got to play for? Well, retrospectively, to basically not finish the team just sitting above the relegation zone. That's what they're playing for here. And Sheffield United are purely playing for pride. What is your initial thoughts on sort of Burnley's season when you see them sitting in 17th? Do you think it's been a little bit of a disappointment for them this year?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's most certainly been a disappointment. I think the problem with Burnley is this year, I think they've been definitely caught out by COVID because they don't necessarily have the squad depth that we're used to seeing of the teams that are finishing above them. And then maybe with the whole COVID situation, it's just not helped generally. And that's part of the problem. But the few games I have seen of them, they have looked like Burnley. They've not looked far off it. And it might just be that it's a matter of time. And maybe next season, once they've got a few more fresh legs, a few different players coming in, they might be able to sort themselves out a little bit because, with coronavirus and everything that went on, the problem is people didn't have budgets, and because they had smaller budgets, teams like Burnley, who were thriving on getting good scouts and bringing players in from different places, they they were one of the teams that then struggled because they couldn't get these young players in for cheap. And obviously it's crossing restrictions and stuff like that. So I've been impressed with them though. Like when I saw them against Liverpool at the weekend for a good 60, 70 minutes, they were at the weekend. I can't remember when it was now. A good 60, 70 minutes of football. They were absolutely brilliant and they deserve to do better.
Yeah, I've got to agree. I think Burnley are one of those teams who their league position never really sort of gives them credit sometimes for how they get on in the season. They always have close games. They never get thrashed. And they're always, as I would say on my channel, there or thereabouts, Burnley, in terms of being competitive. But it's just not quite worked out for them. They are a little bit lacking in squad depth today and this season. And I think you're absolutely right. Sean Dyche has been banging on that he needs investment in his squad, and he hasn't quite got it. Well, let's get some of these early scorelines in from you guys then. And as I said, if you have got a scoreline prediction for this game, it's Sheffield United versus Burnley. Let's have a look at it. So Max has gone 2-0 Burnley and is back in that. Wilco's gone Sheffield United 0 Burnley 2. We've had 2-2-0s on the Burnley. Get your score prediction if you haven't done so already. We've got Jonathan saying Burnley win 3-1. We've got Burnley 2-0. And we've got Burnley 3-0 as well. No one is back in Sheffield United. No one is imagining the Blades getting a result at home. And this is what I want to touch on now, guys. This is what I want to touch on now. I don't know if you agree with this one, Sam, but I essentially think that Sheffield United last season, they showed their dominance and they showed their prowess when they had fans behind them. And ultimately, they are going to be playing at a stadium with 10,000 or so fans, as you can see up here, limited number of spectators, max 10,000. So they're going to be having a capacity stadium where actually, you know, will the fans give them a little bit of a send-off? And you see here, they lost to Newcastle. They have beaten Everton. They have beaten Brighton in a few games, but they've also lost to Spurs and Palace. So it's in different form there. And I think, you know, I've just got this feeling that the crowd, at Sheffield United will have an impact. And actually, I think it will spur the team on. And that's why I'm going to go bold here and brave. And I'm actually going to go with a 2-1 Sheffield United win in this game and going against the people who are back in Burnley. How do you feel about this, Sam, and your sort of score prediction that you're coming to?
Yeah, so I'd actually written down a 3-0 Burnley. But now that you have put that into perspective, obviously, I think you are right. I think much of the dominance for Sheffield United was when they had fans in place. But the big thing is for me is they didn't drop off that much at the end of last season with the coronavirus. So part of me wonders if they got sussed out. And well, I'm hoping that doesn't happen to Leeds next year because they're in a very similar situation in the way that they've come up and they've done fantastically. But they have been sussed out this year. And for me, there is only one way this is going to go, and it's going to be 3-0 Burnley.
Wow, okay, there we go. So let's get some other scorelines that I may have missed. Apologies if I have. We've got Burnley 2-1, says Jordan Spence. Fraser's gone 2-0 Burnley. And Fusion's gone Sheffield 1 to win. And I think Joyce up here has got 2-2. And yeah, some strong scoreline predictions in there. Goals has come in. Sorry, I've missed Goals as well. Goals has said, I can see this being a classic 0-0 to Burnley.
I could see
there
that.
also is that element of that as well, I think. You know, some of us have gone goal crazy, but there also is that element of 0-0, which we can definitely see in there. And listen, this is going to be an interesting one. And the last time Sheffield United played Burnley at home in the Premier League, they won 3-0. So that was over a full crowd. So that will be interesting. But we've got our score predictions in. You've got yours in. You can see here, Jonathan has said, good riddance to bad luck to Sheffield United.
I agree.
I mean, surely we like a whipping boy in the league, don't we? You always like a team who you can sneak 3 points off. But then I say that, and Aston Villa struggled this season against Sheffield United. But that is very interesting. And that is our first set of game, guys. So thank you for putting in your score predictions there. We will move on to the next one and see what everyone else is saying. And yeah, let's see if there's any other comments about that. And just get rid of this one here. And sorry, I missed 4 who put Sheffield United win. So he's saying a Sheffield United win as well. So mixed bag from us all lot. And great to see that. Right, let's go on to another game that I don't think has too much weighting and we're not exactly going to, lose sleep over. And that next game, Sam, that I'm going to go to is actually, again, down near the bottom of the table is Fulham versus Newcastle. Now, Sam, give me your thoughts on both these teams, really. Your predominant thoughts, feelings about Fulham, Newcastle, and where they've obviously retrospectively finished. Fulham, we know, are relegated. Newcastle, Sam, a win and results go their way. They could actually finish around about 12th, which, considering where they were a couple of weeks ago, not bad, really, is it? Not bad at all. So what are your thoughts on this, Sam?
Yeah, so Newcastle United, I think Steve Bruce said it a few months ago. He said, when we get the likes of St. Maximan and their key players back, then there wouldn't be a problem. And I think for a while, it was just waiting and waiting for these players to come back because Bruce is looking to build that team around these players. And as much as the fans hate him and have been really annoyed by him this season, that has been proven to be true. The fact that actually he has built this team around these players, and obviously losing someone such as St. Maximan, like he's the one off the top of my head I can think of who is the big player. Building a team around those players is vitally important. And when you don't have them, you can see why they struggle. But now you've seen why they've done so well because they've had, like, even with Willock now scoring as well. How fantastic has he been? Probably an outside shout maybe for an England call-up, an outside shout. But for Fulham, though, I've thought it's like with Burnley. They've been very, very competitive all season long. And if it went slightly the other way, they wouldn't be in this position. And I've felt that about Fulham the whole time. West Brom and Sheffield, I've maybe always thought are a little bit down and out sort of thing. But Fulham, I've always thought, well, if it went one way or if it went the other, they could maybe do something. And this weekend, I'm actually going to back Fulham. I am with my score prediction because I think Fulham will want to go out with a bang. They'll want to show what they're made of. And I've gone with a 1-0 Fulham win.
Ooh, okay. I wasn't expecting that, actually, to be honest. So, I think you really summed that out really well. I think the problem is with Fulham, and I'll highlight it here, is that only scoring 27 goals this season in the Premier League campaign. They've been really short up top. They've really not been able to convert chances. With that, they've leaked goals as well. And when you're not scoring and you're leaking goals, there's always going to be an issue there. But yeah, Newcastle, as I said, Sam, you're absolutely spot on. When the big players are back, when Bruce allows his players to play attacking football, they are a bit of a force. And what type of Newcastle will we get next season is the big one. And of course, we'll go through your scoreline predictions in a second. Just want to give sort of the head-to-head forms. You can see Fulham winless in their last 5, but they did pick up a good draw at Old Trafford on my birthday on the Tuesday. Whereas Newcastle, they come in with 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw. And I will leave the head-to-heads down here for you all to see. But as Sam said, he's back in the old Geordies, the Fulham lads tonight. We got Fulham 1-0 as well from Rob Wilson. Jonathan's gone 2-1 against Fulham. So he's back in his Toon army, old Jonathan. So there we go. And we've got, remember when Fulham versus Newcastle meant to be game of the year? Says Fraser. Not Fraser, says Oliver. And he's gone 2-0 to Newcastle. Fulham 0, Newcastle 4. Crikey. That's a goal fest there at Craven Cottage then. What else have we got about your new Liverpool kit when I get up from school? Yes, love that, Fraser. Always nice to see a video bang. Max has gone Newcastle form being amazing. 3-0 Newcastle. Jordan Spence gone 1-1. We've got Kochi saying, hi, I'm back. Fulham 1, Newcastle 2. Willock double, I think. People are loving Joe Willock at the moment, aren't they, Sam?
Absolutely. Really deservedly so as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Real Tom thinks Fulham have been the poorest Premier League team this season. Well, you say that, but they're not bottom of the league. I think Sheffield United, Real Tom are dog dirt. My polite way of saying it. Wilco's gone 1-1. And that will be good to see a 1-1 potentially. Would love to see another Willock goal. 2-1 Newcastle, I think, says goals. Yeah, again, goals as an Arsenal fan. He wants to see him thrive. In fact, just touch on it, Sam. Mikel Arteta said today that Willock will be coming back. Now, it's also early transfer talk. I think there's going to be a lot of speculation around Joe Willock, isn't there, and his future. But Arteta said he is an Arsenal player. He has taken his loan opportunity really well, and he could thrive on that. And interestingly, Jonathan says Joe is one of our own. Quick thoughts on that, Sam. Joe Willock's come up a lot. Willock stays at Arsenal, makes a name for himself in that centre mid, an area where they're weak with Dani Ceballos probably going back to Real Madrid and, El Neni and Granit Xhaka, or is he going to force a move, do you think?
Well, I saw the transfer fee, and I saw it was like 30 million that Arsenal wanted for Willock, which I thought was an absolute steal. I saw some Newcastle fans on Twitter tweeting about it and saying, "Oh, Steve Bruce will probably still only offer 20 mil, even though it is a steal." But I think it's a difficult one for Willock because it depends on where he sees the club going, because he might see it not as a sideways move, but not as much of a progression as he would like going back to Arsenal, because at the minute Arsenal aren't the team that we grew up watching. This mighty team that were challenging for Europe, challenging for the Premier League. And if he feels that he's more likely to use Newcastle as a stepping stone for them to go to one of the bigger clubs in England or in Europe or wherever, then it might be better for him. And Newcastle, you never know, if they carry on performing like this, they could next season finish above Arsenal. That is more than capable of happening. And it's just one of those things, I think, for Willock. He's going to have to think long and hard about it. If Newcastle come knocking, what does he do? And if I was him at this current moment in time, I'd maybe, see what happens with Steve Bruce, see what happens with Mike Ashley, and maybe I might go to Newcastle. It might suit me a little bit better to get some first team football.
Interesting. Goals is saying he's got a bit of Aaron Ramsey about him. Raw. Yeah, I can see what you mean about that. That sort of not technically brilliant, but plays on the peripheral, plays on the edge, and has a real rawness about them. And we got Willock for Euros, says Oliver. I think he's left it a teeny bit late, if I'm honest, guys. But hey, you never know. So there we go then. So we got our score predictions in. Sam, you went with, what did you go with again with that one?
1-0 Fulham.
1-0 Fulham. I'm going to go with a 4-0 Newcastle. I'm going to copy Real Tom. Yeah, I feel goals. I feel Fulham on holidays. I honestly feel like Fulham are on holidays right now. So 4 seems quite big. I think 3 is probably more respectable. But there we go. Why not? I've said it now. So I've got to go with it. Throw myself in there. There we go. So, right, that's the second game. Next game then we'll go to is, again, we're starting to try and build up more towards the games that matter and the games that sort of have some impetus on it. So the next one, Sam, that we're going to look at is actually Leeds versus West Brom. Now, Leeds. Where do I start with Leeds? Did anyone ever imagine Leeds in their first season in the Premier League securing a top 10 finish? I mean, it's incredible. And the fact of the matter is, Sam, that Leeds, again, could push for 9th or even possibly 8th. What's been your thoughts on Leeds United this season? Have you been blown away with them? And are they the real deal under Marcelo Bielsa? And can they only get better? Or is this a little bit of a Sheffield United syndrome we may see? And that actually you could see them tailoring off next season, not living up to the expectations. What do you think, Sam?
I could definitely see him doing a Sheffield United. I was very pessimistic in the way when I first saw Leeds come up. I was like, well, Leeds have been struggling to come up for the past few seasons. Why is that? Under Marcelo Bielsa, he's obviously changed a lot in the club and they do look like a good side. But I wonder if there's this cap, this almost glass ceiling that they cannot get above because of the way that they play. Because if they go against these bigger sides on a frequent basis in a Super League style thing, if that was to happen, I wonder how exposed they would be. Because whilst you can play attacking football against the likes of Burnley, Villa, Crystal Palace and get away with it and not have the most clinical strikers against a City, a Liverpool, a Leicester, even a Chelsea if Timo Werner's offside, they will put them in the back of the net. And I do wonder that. I have been impressed with them, though, for the most part. And I think the one thing about that is, as you can see there, they're sitting 10th with 17 wins and 15 losses. That is still a lot of losses to have. They would prefer to have a couple more draws in there. But for a first season, absolutely fantastic first season for a club, and it's a good building point as well. And we've seen a lot of progression, and like the likes of Rafinha. A lot of people didn't know who he was until he came over the summer, and he was joined this Leeds side and absolutely lit up the Premier League.
Yeah, he has. He really has. And will he be at Leeds next season? We'll have to wait and see. Alexander Bullet saying, hi, happy late birthday. Thank you, Alex. Really appreciate it. And Real Tom's gone straight and he's gone West Brom 1-0 win with a penalty. Oliver says Leeds finishing where they were is not a shock. Wolves came 7th 2 years running. Good point. Coming up like that. Jordan Spencer's gone Leeds win 3-2 potential goal fest. Could also see that, to be fair. And Real Tom reckons there'll be a red card in this game. We've got Lowell 3-1 dirty Leeds. He said, I expected Leeds to finish 10th. We got 2-0 Leeds, and it is, of course, Big Sam's final game. He is not taking on. He wasn't happy the other day with Mikel Antonio, is he? Was not happy at all with that. And I think 2-1 Leeds, says Fraser. And the top 3 Premier League teams, Leeds, Man City, Leeds, Aston Villa. Well, I don't know if the table shows that, but there we go. And Oliver said, of course, like, sub, and share. Make sure you do. And, of course, do subscribe to Sam Redgate-Large and A View from the Stands if you haven't done so already, and smash those like buttons up. As you always do, guys. You're absolute legends. And, of course, at the end of the stream, I'll make sure both our channels are in there, the chat, so you can smash them up and make sure you subscribe to Sam. He's past 300 now. We want to get him to 400, 500, 600. We want him climbing. All right, guys? So that's what we're here to do. And yes, Shamar, hello, mate. Very surprised you're doing a video like this. You know, Shamar, we like to surprise. Why not throw a curveball? But we're just building up to this fantastic last weekend of Premier League football. There's so much to play for. We're getting through the games, and we're waiting for the big ones. And I think that is when the big debates are going to come. I think we're going to have fireworks. I think we're going to have punch-ups. I think me and Sam are going to be tearing each other's heads off because we're clearly, there's a lot to discuss with the top 4. But there we go. And that's your opinion. 40 Leeds to win, says Scott. Leeds fans have got to be so proud of this season finish with a win 2-0. I think they're going to go wide. And I'm going to go back to we got another one here saying Leeds United to win 4-0, says Jonathan. Big scoreline there. Goals, guys. We're feeling goals. And yes, Muzzer's in the house saying, go on then, Sammy boy. Listen, my thought exactly the same with the Sheffield United one, Sam, is that Ellen Road is going to be packed. Imagine the reception that Marcelo Bielsa is going to have with the players, the incredible season they've had. West Brom, let's be honest, Big Sam's gone, do you know what? Screw you lot. I don't want to take you. Basically, Big Sam's gone, I don't want to be your manager in the Championship because I think I'm a little bit better than that, essentially. And, he's going to have to ask these players to go out and try and, play with some pride, with some performance, with some credit to almost put themselves in a transfer window, so to speak. But honestly, Leeds, they've got a lot going for them with that Ellen Road crowd. And I think I'm going to go with another goal fest. I think someone put 3-2. I'm going to match that. I think I'm going to go 3-1 though. I think I'm going to go 3-1. West Brom not to score more than 1 there. And you can see West Brom winless in their 5. They've lost 3 and drawn 2. So listen, great stuff for Leeds. Their home form, by the way, at Ellen Road, Sam. Just want to quickly show you this. I mean, their home form, I can't remember the last time, apart from Aston. Oh, look at that team they've lost to at Ellen Road, Aston Villa. But, their last 5 games, they haven't lost at Ellen Road. Then they faced the mighty Villa. But apart from that, they've got a fantastic record at home, predominantly, and do superbly. So there we go. We've both given our score predictions, and we're back in the mighty Leeds. And I think a lot of you guys have as well, which is great to see. So, I think I missed Shamar's scoreline, who's put 3-0 Leeds as well, which is great. So, yeah, there we go. And Fraser's asking to link his channel. Yeah, chuck it in. Why not? Why don't we all chuck our channels in at the end? Why don't we save the stream and just chuck a channel fest in?
Do Leeds have an outside chance of getting that conference thing? Because of my prediction 3-1 and looking at my other predictions, if my other predictions came off, Leeds would be in the Europa Conference thing.
It's with Everton. So with Everton, they can go level on points with Everton. I don't know what the goal difference is. We can quickly look at the goal difference with Everton.
It's the same with Spurs as well. Yeah, Spurs are on 57.
Good point then. Let's go to
59, sorry.
Let's get that table up. So Sam is asking the question, if Leeds go on and have that performance that they could do at home and win, and Arsenal and Everton bottle it, as do Spurs, Leeds would go to 59 points. If you look at the goal difference, Leeds are on a +6 goal difference. Everton's goal difference is +5. Spurs have got a much superior goal difference, though, Sam. So I think they would just lose out because of goal difference. But credit to them, for giving it a real good go and doing that. So there, absolutely great point though. How close were they? So there we go. Right, next one. Next one then. So the next game, that's our third game we've covered. Let's get on to the next one. And the next game, Sam, we will have a look at. It's so fiddly going in between all these tabs. The next one we're going to look at, again, I think it's a little bit of a dead rubber, in my opinion, because there's not too much to play for. And it's this one here, guys. And it is Wolves versus Manchester United. And essentially, guys, that Man United, they're done, aren't they? They're done. They're getting second. And Wolves, mid-table mediocrity. Big news today, Sam. Nuno Espirito Santo is going to relieve his duties as Wolves manager. Are you shocked at that?
A little bit, but I think Tottenham might be calling in his ear and he might see that as a step up. I personally see it as a step sideways, maybe even a step down, because I'm a Chelsea fan and I don't think going to Spurs is the right thing for him. But it's, he's had a good couple of years and obviously this season has been a drop off. The influence of Raul Jimenez, that's obviously been massive in that. We'll have to wait and see. And that final game has inspired my score prediction. That's all I'm going to say. Okay, interesting. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on Nuno. Let me know your thoughts on your comments on Nuno stepping down as Wolves manager, relieving his duties. Where's he going next, guys? Where's he going next? And what is it that Wolves, will they spiral up? Will they plummet? Is it going to be a drop-off? Be interested to know your thoughts on Wolves, guys. And we'll get into this game. And I'll get some early score predictions. Obviously, Max Gamer here saying next season EPL winners West Ham. Okay, that's a crazy shout, but I'm all aboard that. Why not? So we've got Wolves 2, Manchester United 1. Nuno to leave on high, which I think might mirror what Sam was saying about Nuno. We got Man United to win 4-0. We got Man United will win 5, says Scott. Rota, yes, absolutely, Fraser. Nuno wants Spurs job. He won't succeed, says Oliver. Rip Nuno, I don't think he goes to Spurs. He's not the type of manager Spurs are looking for. Interesting what type of manager you think, Max. And he's gone 1-1. And we've got Seto saying, I hope to stay number 1 in my fantasy league. I'm leading by 15 points. We have the top 4 all close. Oof. Lots of fantasy leagues going on. There. And let's see what happens with that. What else have we got? We've got, I see him at Man U if Ollie goes. Is Ollie going to go, though? Is he going to go? I don't think so. I think he's the long-term project as well. That would be Wolves manager's last game. It is indeed Poggy Games. Nuno to Spurs. A lot of people are on what Sam's saying. That's okay, Fraser. And 2-1 Portugal FC win. Big fan of Nuno. He's done an excellent job with Wolves, but Sam will know I'm biased. And we'll go to that in a second. Shamar saying, I don't think it was a good decision by Nuno. So people interested to see, was that the right decision by Nuno? If I go to that tab, then quickly show us the form. Because obviously, again, the league table in terms of that is, we know that quickly that Manchester United are second and home and dry. And listen, Chelsea can't catch them, so United have got second. Wolves, they can't finish any higher than 12th. So again, it's a bit of pride don't to finish below 15th, which is an interesting one because that would be a very low score in there. Head to head then, Sam, again, we look at Wolves away from home. Again, it seems where they've struggled. They've had losses at Everton. They've had losses at Spurs. They've beaten Brighton. They've drawn West Brom. They've drawn with Burnley, and Wolves at home. Again, in different form. 2 wins, 2 losses, so not really drawing. And Man United away, we're 3 wins, a loss and a draw. And we know Man United, but are they on their holiday, Sam? Is this going to affect your score prediction? Are Manchester United on holiday because of the Europa League and they are going to be reserved, or is Ollie going all out? And listen, just look at these head-to-heads. A 1-0, 0-0, 1-0, 0-0, 1-1. Do not expect goals in this game is all I can say. Sam, over to you. So my score prediction for Sunday's game is I've gone with 2-0 Wolves. And part of that is I've gone with backing the fact that for Nuno Espirito Santo's final game, the Spurs lads, crikey, I've already got it in my head. The Wolves lads will be up for this. I think they'll want to send their manager off in the best way possible. And that's part of the reason. And then, like you said, that Europa League final, United might turn up with a awful team. It won't be an awful team because it's United, but you know what I mean? They might turn up with a few youth players in, get a few legs out there, keep up the fitness, and use it very much as almost like a pre-season friendly, because there is nothing to play for Manchester United. All it is a bragging right, isn't it? That's saying, oh, we finished however many points above Chelsea or Leicester or Liverpool or whoever finishes third. So there isn't much to play for them. If I was Ole, I'd be going, boys, we'll focus on the Europa League, because that is more important. If we win the Europa League, it's not a success of a season because we started in the Champions League, but at least it's a silverware and a piece and a trophy for us to take back with us.
Gotta agree. So, I don't know. It's interesting. I'm trying to think of my scoreline here while we're going through this. And as I said, Nunes is very attacking. Might be a better manager than Josie did there. Shamar hates United, so he's going to say that as well. Fusion's put his link in the channel. Make sure you do subscribe to Fusion. He's made some fantastic thumbnails today, so big up the Fusion. And of course, do subscribe to Fraser's channel as well. But look, I don't think Nuno is going to get a reaction from his players. I think they're just a bit bland, Wolves, and they haven't blown me. Every time I've watched Wolves, I've just thought, you should be so much better than this. You've got all this talent out here. It's dry. It's not attacking football. Adama Traore makes me want to headbutt a wall, because every time he gets the ball, his decision-making actually hurts me, because he should be one of the best players in the league, but he's not. And yeah, where's the goals coming from? I don't know. That is always the problem. And you look at prehistorically with Manchester United, it's always been a really dull game in terms of 1-0s, 0-0s. So listen, this game for me, Wolves versus Manchester United, I'm actually going 0-0. I'm going straight down the throat of a 0-0. What are you thinking?
No, I'm going 2-0. 2-0. I'm sticking with my 2-0 Wolves.
Yeah, still sticking to it.
Yeah, sticking with it. I'm hoping for some goals in every game. Make it entertaining.
Wow, there we go. Maybe that's me being negative, but there we go. I don't know. I just see a 0-0. I really do. You guys might disagree with me, and you might think, Josh, what on earth are you chatting? But that's how I feel. That's how I know. And Oliver makes a good point. Wolves have missed Raul Jimenez this season, yeah, it's absolutely fine to admit that your best player, one of your best players, is someone who has produced goals season in season, and he hasn't, and he's been missed, and that's been Wolves' downfall. So there we go. Spurs have lost Kane, isn't it? It looks like it, Ming. It looks like it. He's gone. By the way, Sam, Chelsea bottling top four, says Colin. Oh, he also wished me happy birthday earlier. But we're going to get onto that top four battle, Colin. Don't you worry. That is coming up soon. I can't wait to see everyone's thoughts on that. But I can see Traore getting a miracle goal on his own against United. It's the sort of thing that Adama does. It's the sort of thing Adama does. And yeah, like Palace and Wilfred Zaha, absolutely. Oh, Mom, I was meant to click on my channel. No, don't be silly, Fraser. It'll be fine. It'll be absolutely fine. And right, so we've given our score predictions. Let's get on to the next game. And we're getting more tasty now. We're getting more tasty. That was like our starter. That was like going to a restaurant and going for a starter. Now we're getting into the bit of the main. And of course, we'll save the dessert till last, the big toppings. And next one I'm going to go for, another absolute dead rubber in my eyes, and not very important, is this game. But I say dead rubber, there's still some things to talk about with this game and this team, and that is, of course, Arsenal versus Brighton. And listen, Brighton, out of nowhere, beating Manchester City 3-2. I mean, who expected that, guys? Who expected that? Especially with the fact they went 2-0 down. Brighton, again, what have they got to play for? Well, actually, it's still a respectable finish. And I always look at this because for every league position you finish in the league equals more money. So, you know, it does have some meaning. Impact is they could go and finish 14th, 13th if results go their way, which is, again, respectable. Brighton finished 13th. They'll go, that's a good season. But as for Arsenal, guess what they're playing for? They can't get Europa League. Mathematically, Arsenal cannot get Europa League. But what they can get, Sam, is the brilliant prize of the Europa League Conference. Come on! So, you know, again, first of all, Sam, Arsenal, it's a bit embarrassing, isn't it, for them to be fighting out for a Europa League Conference place, looking to finish 7th. With the investment, with the hype of Arsenal, I still will not forget or forgive Arsenal fans who basically, when they won the FA Cup, they were talking of winning the title because of the signings of Thomas Partey and Aubameyang signing the team. I've heard the Arsenal fans. Have you heard Arsenal fans before the season say that, Sam? And what are your thoughts on Arsenal right now?
I mean, to be honest with you, they had it coming to them. Like, that's all. I have no sympathy for Arsenal fans. Obviously, as a Chelsea fan, I'm not supposed to have sympathy for them in the first place. But when you're talking about winning the league just because you won an FA Cup against a Chelsea team that was depleted because they lost their best player halfway through the game, it's not great, is it? It's like I don't even know what it's like. It's just stupid. Like, fair enough, I reckon we can get back for top 4. But, they were so poor at the beginning of this season. And, they beat Chelsea, 3-1, 3-0. And that was sort of the end for Lampard and the beginning of a sort of a rebound for Mikel Arteta. But the fact was, like, this Chelsea side weren't expected to be anywhere near where they were and what they were doing. And when they beat them, that was sort of Chelsea playing at the standard that they were expected to be, and Arsenal finally coming back. And I think the problem with Arsenal this season is they haven't been able to replicate that. They haven't been able to come up against these big sides and do that again. And it's just been a really, really poor season. And Aubameyang, I don't want to say he's past it, but he maybe looks a little bit past it at times. He really does, and it's frustrating as a football fan, because you're like, I want all of these sort of top 10 teams to be competitive and play the best football. But when you're saying that you're going to win the league because you won the FA Cup, like, imagine if Leicester did that. Leicester fans going, "Oh, we're going to win the league next year." I think Leicester are more likely to. They've got a better squad than Arsenal did.
Yeah, it's crazy chat. It's crazy chat. Let's go to the comments to see their thoughts, feelings, emotions, and we'll give our scoreline. And we've got, hi, I'm James Smith. Is that you, Muzzers, on a different account? It's Siblings Gaming. Love to see it. Why did Aguero have to leave Man City? Yeah, it's big news, him going to Barca. It really is. And very interesting, because just on a side note, I thought that Haaland was definitively going to Barcelona to keep Messi there. So I think that opens a new sort of question. Where is Erling Haaland going? Which, we can always discuss another time. But Real Tom, of course, is going Arsenal 1, Brighton 0. We got Arsenal 2-0, says Fraser. We got Seto saying Arsenal win 2-1. Lacazette will score. Okay. Jonathan's back in the Brighton boys after their victory against Man City. He's gone 2-1 Brighton. We got 1-0. I think that would be 1-0 to the Arsenal, says Oliver. 5-0 Arsenal because I hate Brighton, says Shamar. Cool. Bitter Man City fan there, Shamar, about the older result. And wait, Aguero's left. Yeah, it seems that it's agreed that he's going to Barcelona. So there we go. And any more scorelines on that, we'll chat on Arsenal. We've got Arsenal is around Villa and Leeds new clubs. How embarrassing is that? Or how good are Leeds and Villa? Seto, if you put it like that, that's what you got to think of. You're either half glass full, half glass empty, and I'm looking at it as a half glass full situation. That maybe Aston Villa and Leeds are elite clubs, and Arsenal just in with the best. But no, jesting aside, it's just poor. How dare you? Every Brighton game is important, and we can still finish higher than Palace for the first time ever since forever. 2-1 Brighton. Listen, I'm on that bandwagon about Brighton, Rob. I am absolutely on the bandwagon for Brighton. I think Brighton are going to win this, and I think Brighton are going to win 2-1 as well. I've got that similar scoreline to you guys. I am very much in the sense that Brighton can do this. And do you know what the most frustrating thing is about Arsenal? They play, and they've had 4 wins in the Premier League when it doesn't matter. When the pressure's off, when there's absolutely no pressure in Arsenal's season because they're out the Europa League, which was the be-all and end-all for them, where there was nothing to play for, Nicolas Pepe all of a sudden comes a world beater. All of a sudden, Martinelli's bagging some goals and Arteta plays him. And I just think you've left it too late. And anyone can play when there is no pressure. But the real players, the big game players, your Kevin De Bruyne's, right? They step up when the pressure's on them every week. And that is Sam seems to agree. I think that's the case, Sam, that there's too many Arsenal shirkers. There's too many players in that Arsenal team that when it doesn't matter, they'll step up. When the pressure's on, they fall to side. They squander it.
Exactly. And I'd just like to point out, thank you for taking Willian off us. I really appreciate that one.
There we go. 1-0 Arsenal win. Not they would deserve it. A lot of respect for Brighton, but I think that win against City was an absolute one-off. Just going to touch on something about Brighton in a second. We get to some of these comments. Rob, you can never finish higher than Palace. Well, they might. They might. You never know. You never know. And we've got Real Tom's offended about slander on Arsenal, but when's he not? He hates it if anyone talks about Arsenal. Game United game's more important than Brighton. Max has said 2-1 to the Arsenal. Interesting, Max. And let's see what else we've got. We've got Liverpool finished top 4, Chelsea finished 3. We are going to come to them in a minute. I'm getting excited for that. Hello, Joe jumping as well. And this is what I like to see, people violating Brighton, says Oliver. Who knew that Arsenal Brighton was going to create so much carnage in it? Never expected that, to be honest. And what's Muzzers saying? There's always good one-liners for Muzzers. William would be better in a Jackson 5 tribute band. Oh Christ. And look who has ads on his videos. Yes, big up Loot Links. And watch the ads, don't skip them. That's what I have to say. But quick one, Sam. Graham Potter, is he got big things coming for him? And we talked about Nuno being in line for the Spurs job. Why not Graham Potter?
Yeah, that's good. That's a good question, actually. I think the one thing that maybe Graham Potter has over the top of Nuno Espirito Santo, especially this season, is how good Brighton have looked for the most part. They have looked fantastic. And I think I've said it literally all season. If you go back through any of my videos, you will hear me talking about how unlucky Brighton have been all season. And with a half-decent side, with a team that will do a half-decent job, this Graham Potter's tactics could work anywhere, and I think he could really push someone further up the table. And I think Brighton are very lucky to have him. He's done absolutely fantastically.
Yeah, I agree. And do you know what? If Brighton can keep Yves Bissouma, if they can keep Dunk, if they can keep Ben White, if they can keep all those quality ballers that they have, and go and sign a striker who's going to score 15 goals plus, and that isn't Neil Maupay, by the way, because he absolutely does my head in, then they have a real chance. They genuinely have a real chance, Brighton, of kicking on. Getting the players like Adam Lallana in. You're an attractive club. To sign Adam Lallana when they did, everyone saw that as a good move. So, I do think, who knows? But Oliver doesn't think Graham Potter's good enough to go to Spurs, but he would, wouldn't he? And big up Brighton, we bang City. You didn't do Loot Links, you didn't do. And how do you think Liverpool come in top 4? Remember, my name is Zachary. Well, Zach, we will be getting that. We're not going to give away our cards. We can't give away our cards just yet. You've got to keep your cards close to our chest. So, moving on. As I said, did not realise Brighton.
I don't think I said my score.
No, you didn't actually, Sam. Go on, hit us with it. Hit us with this score.
I'm going with a 2-2. I think it'll be an exciting one.
Damn it, I thought you were going to back Brighton and really rile the Arsenal fans in here and the Palace fans.
I was tempted to change it, but I wrote down 2-2, and I think, to be honest, it might be Arsenal 2-0 up, Brighton come back again. I can see another Brighton comeback.
Oh, there we go. Right, next game then is this one, ladies and gentlemen. Manchester City versus Everton. And the reason why I go to that is we know that we're going to see Manchester City lift the Premier League title today. I say today, but in this game on Sunday. And we know that they're done and dusted. And actually, my worry is that with a crowd then, after losing against Brighton, are we going to see an angry Pep Guardiola team? Is there a big enough gap between now and the Champions League final next Saturday? It's a week. I think he'll be okay with that, and I think he'll still play the likes of KDB, Foden, Mahrez, Diaz, etc. I think he'll want to give that crowd a big send-off. On the other hand, Carlo Ancelotti, the fact of the matter is his Everton team could still technically get Europa League football. It's still achievable. But Europa League conference could be more likely. And, it's a huge battle there for Everton. To even try and get some European football will be huge for them to do that. Sam, your thoughts on Everton this season in general, and have you been disappointed by them? Have you been impressed by them? What are your general thoughts, feelings, and emotions about Everton?
Well, for me, Well, I touch on Carlo Ancelotti in my video tomorrow, which is coming out. So I won't go into too much detail on Carlo Ancelotti specifically. But for me, I think Everton have been disappointing. I know, obviously, they were so fantastic in the beginning of the season when it was Aston Villa versus Everton who were in the title race, and that seemed to be the only way the Premier League was going. But they were very, very good, and then they just seemed to not fall off a cliff, but they just disappeared for a couple of months, and everyone was like, "What's happened to Everton? Where have Everton gone?" Dominic Calvert-Lewin's goals dried up, and then Everton stopped playing, and they lost to Sheffield the other day. That Everton side at the beginning of the year would not have lost to Everton at all. Sorry, the other way around. That Everton side wouldn't have lost to Sheffield at all. And that, to me, it shows almost they've done an Everton. They've looked so promising yet again to get into Europe. And then just when they've needed it most, they've gone, no, we'll leave it. We'll let someone else have it again this year. Those are my thoughts on them. I think if they managed to get it, it'd be a half-decent season. But with the promise they showed, they'd be wanting to challenge with Leicester for the Champions League spots, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah, got to agree. Really nice summary there. Real Tom's gone 3-0, Man City. We've got Shah in the house saying, big up Shah. Of course, I would have been shocked if Shamar didn't back a big scoreline. He's gone 4-0 City, Foden hat-trick. Well, do you know what? Foden can score a hat-trick in that game and a hat-trick in the Champions League final and then a hat-trick for England in every game. I'll be buzzing, really. And I just want him to be injury-free. Want Foden to be injury-free. And, that's what we've got to look out for there. With Phil Foden and Manchester City. And I wonder if that is in the back of Pep Guardiola's mind in terms of injuries, because that Champions League final, probably the biggest game of Pep's life in the last 3-4 seasons, maybe even longer, since he hasn't won it since he's left Bayern Munich. Everton have been poor this season, but against the Big Six, they've played well. Well, Man City is a Big Six team, so maybe they'll turn it on there. Fraser's gone 2-0 Man City. Looks like no one's back in Everton at all today. Let's see. We've got Collins saying 1-0 City. We got 3-1 City. We got City 2-0. Pep will definitely want a home win to finish the season and will want to play a full squad. And that's where I'm sort of sat. I'm trying to think to myself, am I going to see a full Manchester City team and team who plays? And if so, I'm feeling a big win. If I see a team with Raheem Sterling, Gabriel Jesus, Ferran Torres, that sort of caliber of team that we have seen sometimes with Pep Guardiola when he rotates, then I'm not exactly jumping off my seat with this one. And just quickly look at the head-to-heads then, because people did touch on Everton's record. Everton, they haven't beaten Man City in their last 5 attempts. Obviously, they lost in the FA Cup, but in the Premier League, they've lost all 4 encounters in the last 2 seasons. So, look, the stats sort of don't add up for Everton. They haven't had a good time against Manchester City. Sam, scoreline then, in terms of Man City-Everton, are we feeling a goal fest at the Etihad, or are we feeling a drab fest? What are you thinking?
Personally, I don't think the fans will affect Manchester City at all, because there still won't be any in there. So we are going to go with, although this makes no influence on the actual game anyway, because City seem to have just, if anything, played better this year without the fans. So I'm going with 3-1 Everton. I don't think it'll have changed the game at all. I think if we were playing in front of fans or without fans, City would still win. And I just think the one thing which maybe could be, in the back of their minds is obviously that Champions League final, because I think that means a lot more to Manchester City than it does to Chelsea, because Chelsea have won one in the last 10 years.
Wow. So you're going 3, is that 3-1 Everton, just to confirm?
3-1 City.
Oh, 3-1 City, sorry.
Yeah.
3-1 City. Yeah, I can't see City losing this. There's nothing pointing me in the direction of an Everton win. I regardless of this fight for Europa League. So I like Sam's scoreline. I'm going to go just a plain old simple 2-0 Manchester City, I think. And there we go. We've got a few more. Everton to win 1-0, says Shah. And we've got 2-1 to Everton, says Ming. And we've got here, City will get relegated next season, Shamar. Is something drastically going to happen? Like, some sort of like liquidation. They've got to sell every player and play the kids or something like that. I think that's the only way. But, so there we go, guys. Now, let's get into, we're coming near the end of the main course here. We've got one more, I'd say, that sort of fits into that bill. And then we're going to look at the sort of last 3 games. And the next and final one is this one. And with 4 to go, this is our 6th game we're looking at, which is West Ham versus Southampton. Now, Sam, do you remember when Southampton were top of the league?
Oh, yeah. What a time to be alive that was. That was peak Premier League football, that was.
And they even made T-shirts about it, didn't they? So there we go. But obviously, Southampton have dropped off from their echelons of being sort of top of the Premier League. And here they are facing a West Ham team, guys, who are going to potentially get European football. Now, we all deep down hoping and praying, apart from if you're Sam or a Chelsea fan or probably a Leicester or Liverpool fan as well, there was all us neutrals cheering on the West Ham to go get Champions League football. But they've just had 2 indifferent results. Those results coming where they lost to Everton 1-0 and they drew with Brighton, which sort of squandered them a little bit. But they got back to business beating West Brom. But West Ham, a point sees them secure Europa League football, Sam. A point sees them secure Europa League football. And they face the Southampton team, who essentially, again, the highest they can finish is 12th. They come into this with, again, in different form, 2 losses, 2 wins, and a draw in their last 5. Are the Hammers going to do it? And are they going to nail a place in the Europa League?
Well, my prediction is I've gone West Ham 1, Southampton 1. So off that prediction, they would be getting into the Europa League. I think they've had a very, very good season this year, West Ham, and Souček has been the catalyst behind that, but then so has Jesse Lingard for the most part as well. So it's been a very good season, and credit to David Moyes. He's turned this team around. They were pretty much relegation battlers this last couple of seasons, and this season they've been fantastic. I'm intrigued to see how they'll do next year with Europe. I think they've pretty much got it in the bag at this point. With Europe there or thereabouts, it'd be a catastrophe, wouldn't it, if they didn't get Europe from here? But we've seen stranger things. Leicester won the league. We've seen stranger things, so it could definitely happen. But for me, it's going to be 1-1, maybe a Jesse Lingard goal as well. Just a nice chill game for the 2 teams before the end of the season.
Yeah, I like it. So we've got a 4-3 West Ham, a Lingardinho hat-trick. Wow, Shamar, you love it, don't you? You love goals, Shamar, which I love to see. West Ham 2, Southampton 1 is a score prediction from Real Tom, which of course would secure them. 4-1, says Oliver, to West Ham. Big scoreline there. West Ham 1-0, says Rob Wilson, getting the job done. I'd call this a boring game, although important for West Ham. 1-0 win for West Ham, and West Ham 4-1. Interesting, no one is backing Saints. No one sees the West Ham bottle. Do I sense that, though? Have they got the nerves and steel to get over the line under David Moyes? They have, in my opinion. I think he's a great manager. He's proven it. Mikel Antonio is unplayable at times, guys. He really is. And he's leading that West Ham line well. And for me, I think everyone would know that for West Ham to work the position they have and be there or thereabouts all season, and then to blow it on the last bloody game, I think there'll be uproar, wouldn't there, in the football neutrals, because we all want the Hammers to, just feel that success and break that rhythm of different teams in there. So, I think a lot of people are behind West Ham, and it's great to see. And Luke Link said, supporting a team what win everything is boring as, but I think that's in terms of Shamar and him having a battle about Brighton and Man City. Charles saying, I'm saying 2-0 to West Ham. And we've got, I hope Southampton don't lose 9-0. Well, it's happened a few times to them, isn't it? It's happened a few times to them.
I have no clue how they not only did it once, but then went and did it twice. Like, surely the one thing, once they got that player sent off again, was it Bednarek? Once they got him sent off again really early on, the one thing they were thinking to themselves is, right, let's make it not 9-0 again. Yeah. Like, surely that was the one thing that was in their heads.
Yeah, absolutely. And Colin's asking about any guests on Sunday. Well, I think we're trying to work out basically what we're doing Sunday. Because because you can have people in your house, I might be having a few mates around with some beers and getting some multi-screen on and watching the different games. Or the other option is that Sam and I will do something like this again and we'll get something going. But, we want a big send-off on Sunday. We want streams going wild. We want all of you lot. And you know what? We might make it even longer. And especially for mine, I don't know how Sam feels, but I want to get people coming in and reacting to what we've seen and or everything that's gone on and reacting to whoever finishes top 4 and everything. So that's what we're looking at, guys. That's what we're looking at. But listen, scoreline predictions, we've done that. Let's get into it now, because this is what we're all here for, the Champions League discussion. And it's as simple as that. And of course, it is going to be a big sesh on Sunday. Shame half term isn't that week. I've got one more week of school. Unfortunately, half term would have been a perfect timing. They've got to consider that, really, haven't they, going into it?
Imagine.
But there we go.
Considering the schools.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Which one should we go into next? We got 3 games left. And I think we have to go with, let's get into this one. Let's go with Leicester versus Tottenham. Leicester versus Tottenham. Sam, I've got to grab my charger before my laptop dies. Take it away about Leicester versus Tottenham, Sam.
All right, I will do. This is a very difficult one to predict, and I think you guys should pretty much all agree with me here. It's a very difficult one to predict, and the reason for this is that if Leicester win and Liverpool still win, then Leicester still aren't in the Champions League, and, well, that's if Chelsea don't win either. So there is a lot to play for Leicester here, and they need a big, big win. But Spurs also need the win. They want to be able to try and catch up to West Ham United as best as possible. And if they catch up with West Ham, they'll be in the Europa League. And I don't think they'll want the Europa League conference. It'll be extra games for no apparent reason, and they won't care about it. So this is the position they are in. And Spurs, for once, this is the only time you will ever hear these words come out of my mouth, but I want Spurs to win.
Wow.
Clip that. You can keep it. Put it one for the memories, that one. That is the only time I have ever said that.
I'm shocked. He's just said it. I'm shocked. Wow. Where do we begin with this, guys? Because Sam has, put a really nice spin on it. And my head's spinning when it comes to this, because there's so many different fans and fan bases wanting different results from this. Please, Leicester win so Liverpool get Europa League. This is a United fan saying that. So a lot of United fans will be on the Leicester. 2-0 Leicester, says Fraser. 2-1 Leicester, says Shah. Oh my God, everyone's going Leicester crazy here. Shamar's going 4-2 Leicester. Real Tom, the Arsenal fan. Would you ever expect an Arsenal fan to back Spurs as well? People are losing their marbles over this. I'll tell you.
The one thing me and Tom can agree on.
There we go. 3-1 Leicester, says Oliver. Leicester win 2-0 Spurs to bottle it. Wow. Tottenham will win 5-1, says Scott. Oh my God, Scott. That's a big scoreline, but I can see why you might think that. Nathan CFV sent 2-1 Leicester. The split is huge, and of course, absolutely congratulations, Sam and his friend of subs. But
thank you, guys.
do you know what? My head's telling me this. My head's telling me that Spurs don't want the Europa League conference, and that they will quite happily take a loss today. I keep saying today, like the game's going to happen. I actually genuinely can see Spurs rather have just domestic football next season and concentrate that than playing in the Europa League conference, where the final, by the way, I looked at where the final's being played for this tournament as well. The final's played in Albania. Sort of sums it up, doesn't it, in terms of the standard of what you're rewarded with. And one big final in Albania, guys. Rock and roll. They may as well play it on like a Monday night as well or something. But I just think that the Spurs could do better than actually just rebuilding their team, rebuilding with a new manager, just concentrating domestically and getting things right in the league. And I think that's one of the things that as soon as Spurs got knocked out of that Europa League, all the sort of passion, the flame, the burn from Jose Mourinho went, because the league position was untenable. On the flip side, Sam, is this Harry Kane's last game for Spurs? And if so, does he want to end on a high? Are there some other players who are going to be ending on a high? Has Brendan Rodgers got big club syndrome where he bottles it when the pressure's really hard and it comes to the top 4 race?
We saw it last year, didn't we? We saw it last year. It wouldn't surprise me, to be honest with you. It wouldn't surprise me because Brendan Rodgers had been known for it, and even at Liverpool as well, if you remember. They bottled that as well. So
when you beat them, when Chelsea beat them, Rodgers had to put on a very brave face. And I could see when he walked off with Jamie Vardy, the stress, the tension, the challenge that he knows that you've got to go and beat Leicester, have got to go beat Spurs on the last game of the season to get Champions League football. A draw is too risky. It has to be all 3 points. And interesting, Brain is a Spurs fan. And he's not predicting the Spurs win. So interesting. Are Spurs fans confident with that? Just interesting. Sam, quick one on the Spurs, because again, this sort of feeling from Spurs fans is there's a lot of unrest at the club. The fact that Harry Kane looks like he's going to move. The fact that they are nowhere near to knowing who their manager is going to be. But finally, the big escapade of the fans being mistreated. I don't know if you've heard about that or seen that about White Hart Lane in their last game. Spurs obviously charging £60 for a ticket, which is the highest price. Well, that was strike 1. But strike 2 was that the fans who were there were put in the highest tier at the ground, and they left the bottom row free for all sponsorships to remain, so they would be seen on TV. So it was a very tactical move by Spurs. So again, very much a dynamic of the owners having their control, their brand running as a business, not a football club. But when the players go and do a lap of honour in the last home game, the players went straight in apart from Harry Kane, Son and Bale, apparently. And I watched George Achillia's vlog, who was there at the game. And they told him to stay on the seat, the players will be back out. And basically, they waited for 20 minutes. And on the tannoy, they basically said, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. You can now leave safely, without the players actually coming out and clapping them off, because they obviously just lost 2-1 to Villa. So all the fans stayed at the ground and started chanting 60 quid, you're having a laugh, £60, you're having a laugh, and basically boo him. And they had to wait an hour, and the players finally came back out. But there seems to be a lot of unrest at Spurs. And, could that filter into this Leicester game? I think it could. I don't know how you feel, when you think about that.
Yeah. I think it's not great from, obviously, rivalry aside on this specific occasion. That won't happen often. But rivalry aside with Spurs, that isn't the way you treat your fans. That just isn't the way you treat your fans. And obviously, the fact that Son, Kane and Bale stayed out, it shows a lot about those three and how much they love the club and how much they owe to the club, because if they didn't have Spurs, they wouldn't be anywhere, and that shows that. But I think what we need from all managers and owners, well, owners more specifically, is for them to realise that without us, they're nothing, because without us, they don't get any sponsorships, and without the sponsorships, they don't get any money, and then the whole game just crumbles in on itself. And, the least the players can do, obviously, I don't know if that was something that the players had arranged to do or whatever, but the least the players can do is come out. And I think it'll have an effect on Spurs. My backing already was a 1-0 Leicester win. I think it'll be close. I think Harry Kane will be up for it. I think Son will be up for it. Potentially the last time those two will link up. I could see that duo striking again. Gareth Bale's potentially last game as well. And I can see it being a close one, but I think Leicester will come out on top of this game. And I do think it's disappointing for Spurs, and I think it's disappointing for football that we're getting to this stage that it's not about who the fans are and who's watching. It's about that people are watching, and can we sell our product to them?
Absolutely. It's a product, it's a business, and it's run as Tottenham Stadium Football Club. So Sam's gone 1-0. I'm going to go as well with a 2-0 Leicester win. I think it will just not go Spurs' way. I think it'll be a frustrating afternoon for them. And I think Leicester are going to nick that. So with that in mind, and Leicester getting 3 points. That would give Leicester, and this is crucial when we start thinking about top 4, that would put Leicester on 69 points. So, the goal difference, a 4-goal swing, Liverpool-Leicester, by the way, a 4-goal swing, and that might come into it. So I've gone with a 2-0 win there. All right, let's get into it. So we're getting tasty now. We've both predicted Leicester to have 69 points, finishing off. Now it's down to see what we think about Liverpool, and we'll go to them next. And quick comment here, £60 to watch Spurs from the rafters. I'd rather buy a Cambridge United season ticket for the same price. It's a fair point. And unfortunately, the owners take advantage of loyal fans who will pay that money to see their team. And Kane will win it for Spurs in his last game, says Ming. There is that thought. And Nathan is saying thoughts on Harry Kane's transfer. A lot to digest with that. That's a whole video in itself, Nathan. But essentially, my quick sum up is I think he'll stay in England. That's all I'm going to say on that matter at the moment. I think he'll stay in England. And all this PSG rubbish that he's, because of Poch, I think it's a bit of a myth. And Real Tom, sorry, I missed his, is saying Leicester 1, Spurs 2. So there we go. Right, Sam, let's get into this Liverpool game then. And it's an interesting one, Liverpool, because, listen, without that Alisson Becker goal, we wouldn't be talking about how important this game is, because it would be gone. We wouldn't be talking. We know who's getting top 4. It's going to be a win is enough for Liverpool. A win's enough for Liverpool. It really is, because of their goal difference versus Leicester. And unless Leicester have a bit of a thrashing, a win would be enough. So, Sam, Crystal Palace, have they got any chance? Have they got any hope, in your opinion, of producing a shock?
The thing is, with Crystal Palace, I don't know if you agree with this, but I think Crystal Palace are quite often a bogey side. And sometimes people can slip up on them. And we've seen it in recent years. Oh, for example, Crystal, people will remember when Liverpool were 3-0 up and drew 3-3. So I definitely think Crystal Palace could do something. They are more than capable of doing so. I've just seen Real Tom put 3-3 Crystal Palace, Liverpool. So there we are, another Crystal there. But I think they're more than capable of doing something in this game. Whether they take points, I don't know. But I definitely think they're going to get a goal, and I think they might just get the first goal. Obviously, it's a sending off for Roy Hodgson as well. That has to be bear in mind as well. But I can only see Liverpool winning, which makes it obviously really, really close. really, really close for Liverpool, for Liverpool, Chelsea and Leicester. So my score prediction is 2-1 at Liverpool, but I think Palace will score first, and I think there will be that little bit of doubt in Liverpool's minds, and then they'll end up winning 2-1.
Interesting. Sam saying this could go to the wire then, and let's see what people are saying in the comments first of all. And of course, Oliver's going Eagles. Of course he would. And 2-1 Crystal Palace, says Shah, as a Man United fan. Don't let me down, Palace. And he's thinking Christian Benteke. Listen, Benteke loves scoring against his old teams. He did it against Villa. He could do it against Liverpool as well. And some people were hoping that. And we've got 3-3, as you said, from Real Tom. We've got Liverpool 1, Crystal Palace 3 in 2015. We'll go to some of those history because I'm going to look at that in a minute with Palace's form. Scott saying Liverpool to win 4-1. Nathan said Liverpool, Mane and Firmino 2-1. Palace are hard to score. Okay. So Nathan thinks it's a close one like Sam. Roy Hodgson from terraces to dugouts. Yes, he's done, isn't he, old Roy? Rob's gone for a big 3-1 win. And Jordan has said, I'd love a Palace win to shut the Scousers up for good this season. Did you know they were Premier League champions? But realistically, it's going to be 3-1 Liverpool. I get what you're saying, Jordan. Absolutely, because they banged on about that. But for me, I'm shocked that Liverpool have managed to save themselves for the last game of the season to get a chance of Champions League football. The season they've had, we've all said, mocked Liverpool for the awful season they've had. And Samuel, you're agreeing, I think, in the sense that I never actually imagined them being in contention to get Champions League football. Did you?
See, I didn't, but then I did a predicting the top 6 video, and This is either going to age really well or really badly, because it could go right down to the wire. Because if Liverpool and Chelsea finish third and fourth, I've got the top four completely correct. And Leicester, I also predicted to obviously drop out, and they would have done that. And I got called a fool at the time, and now it is more than possible. There was someone in my comments. You can go onto that video. You'll see someone in my comments beefing me about it. But I don't know what it was. There was something about Liverpool that I always couldn't quite put my finger on. And I just always thought, like, they will score goals. It will come back to them. And it seems to have done so. It seems to have just all of a sudden, it's just clicked again. And everyone's back on that same wavelength. Whether they'll do it tomorrow, Sunday, I don't know. I'm kind of hoping for some drama, but not too much drama. It's really hard for me because I want to look at it from neutral and be like, I'd love the drama. But I also don't. I want Chelsea to go 3-0 up in 10 minutes and we'll be done.
Well, look. If you look at Palace's form, loss, win, loss, win, loss, must be winning the next game then. So, if you're someone who believes in patterns, there we go. But just want to look at their recent head-to-head matches because, look, that's 7-0 at Selhurst Park this season. That might hurt Roy Hodgson. And I don't think he'll let his players forget that, will he? The fact that he and his team got done 7-0 on their own turf is interesting. But, look, there have been times where Palace have made life difficult for Liverpool. They haven't exactly come away with a win, but they've kept the games close. A 2-1 here in 2018, a 1-0 to Liverpool there. Here we have Palace actually winning in 2017 2-1. So they've had it's close games, 2-1s and 3-1s, and Palace did the double in 2015. Can they refine that form? Can they refine that belief? Or really, is that 7-0 going to be in their head, and is that something that's going to hold them back? So for me, how do I feel about this game? Well, I feel this. I think that Liverpool will get it done. I really think they will get it done. I think they're going to beat Palace 2-0. I just think so. I think so. Which would then mean that Leicester and Liverpool, with our predictions, on 69 points. So it all comes down to this last prediction. We've left it best till last for a reason. And Shamar went 3-1 Liverpool. Jonathan Smith's went 3-1 Liverpool as well. And 7-0. What was that? I know rule of 6 by Boris. We love that. And I've got we've got Joshy Betrayer. Look, Oliver, you made my life hell when Palace beat Villa. So do you know what? I've got to find a bit of balance in the way of this tie, and 4-1 Liverpool, says Alexander, and there we go, beat Alexander. So I'm sorry that you trusted me, Oliver, but you made my life difficult when Palace beat us, so I haven't forgiven or forgotten. So let's end on it. The one, the only, the final game that we're going to be talking about is, of course, our two teams, Aston Villa versus Chelsea. And not only is this the battle of Josh versus Sam, and not only is this the battle of Chelsea trying to get in the Champions League and looking home and dry, but, I'm not going to say too much at the moment. I'm not going to say too much about Villa. But this is actually a huge game, guys. When you look at everything right now, with everything that's going on, Chelsea have a Champions League final next weekend as well. That is another key factor. Sam, I asked you at the start, are you confident? Are you nervous? Are you getting it done? Are you getting this game done? And are you getting the result you need at the mighty Villa Park?
I mean, the way you just set that up, it did give me butterflies, and now I feel really nervous. But I honestly don't know. It depends what Villa team turns up. I think that's been the problem with Villa all season is one day you'll show up and Bertrand Traore will look like Lionel Messi, and the next day he'll look like, Bertrand Traore. Yeah. And that's the problem. It's going to be a really, really difficult game for Chelsea, and they need to gauge it and they need to get it right early, because I think that's been Chelsea's problem this season. They've not been clinical enough as well, for the most part. If Werner had scored all the opportunities he'd had, my God, I think we'd be on about 300 points. I know that's not even possible, but I think we would. And it's genuinely mental that it's come down to this in the first place. To be honest with you, I think from the position we were in under Frank Lampard, I don't think Europa League would be bad, especially being in a Champions League final and an FA Cup final. I don't think it'd be bad after the position after the position we were left in under Frank Lampard. But obviously, we want Champions League. And my prediction is it's going to be close. And I think Villa will battle for it. I think Villa know what's at stake. I think they're just going to want to irritate the opposition, and it wouldn't surprise me. And for that reason, I've gone for 2-0 Chelsea. So it's going to be very close.
Whoa.
I think there'll be an early goal, and then there'll be one after 80 minutes, which will finally settle the nerves.
Wow. Okay. Well, let's see what the comments think. Oh, yeah, my fault. Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 7. I've clearly rattled real Tom tonight with my rhetoric. Shaw sent 10-0 Villa. Things you love to see. Villa to win 5-2, says Jordan.
Oh, God. Jordan's just done that to West Brom, hasn't he?
Wow, there we go. Love that from you, Jordan. Oliver's still fuming at me, and he said 8-2 Chelsea. Well, I'd 8-2 support Crystal Palace. Whee! There we go. 4-1 Villa, says Alexander Bullock. That's an awful joke by me, but as I said, I'm going with it. Yes, Alex, get behind the Villa boys. Chelsea to win 5-0. Chelsea to win it. Well, Scott, come on, Scott, lad. Come on. Villa 7-2 win, says Fraser. Love it. Bang on 25 likes. Good work, Alex. And on there. And Aston Villa 1, Chelsea 1. Aston Villa will wind them up, and Chelsea will go down to 10 men. Well, that's not a bad shout. I think tempers went wild, didn't they, Sam, between Leicester and Chelsea when it got serious. And there was a side of Chelsea that I thought, okay, this is a little bit of a bit of a feisty one. Could that happen again if tensions are rising? Do you think Grealish getting under some players' skin potentially?
Yes, but also no, because like the two times I can think of, the first one is that Battle of the Bridge where we gave Leicester the title, and the second one was the one at the weekend. And there was a premeditated reason for that. Grealish hasn't done anything. Daniel Amati did something, and that's why it kicked off. It was a bit of argy-bargy between Ricardo Pereira and Rudiger. I think it would have ended. But then because Amati's come down, who is the person who chucked and very much disrespected Chelsea as a club, and I don't think that was right. And I don't know if anyone agrees with me with that, but I don't think that is right. You've got to, fair enough, you've won the FA Cup, but number one, it is only the FA Cup. And number two, you've got to show your opposition some respect, because clearly they are a good team. And that was the reason that was set off. So I don't think it happened in this Villa game as much. I just think it was because of that Chelsea were thinking, look, this isn't on. You've disrespected us once. We're not having it again. And that's why it all kicked off with Daniel Amati. And to be honest with you, did he need to get involved? No. Amati did not need to get involved. It was Rudiger and Ricardo Pereira who were, having a bit of argy-bargy, gobbing off at each other. Fair enough. That is part of football. But what followed that, because Amati got involved, isn't part of football, and it shouldn't happen. But also, if you're going to be like that about another club, then you're kind of expecting it. You're kind of asking for it, aren't you?
All I know is Leicester got under your skin as a Chelsea. So there we go.
But we're above them. So it doesn't matter.
But what's going to happen, guys, is that we're going to see a Jack Grealish showing Mason Mount why he's the best baller in England. And why he will start over him in the Euros. But there we go. But listen, the one thing that worries me about Villa, and I'll come to your comments in a sec, is this home form that I've actually produced on the screen. For some reason, we can't win at home. We're not consistent at home. We're better away from home, which I never thought would be the case. And if we quickly go through these comments, I'll go to the form. Timo Masterclass on Sunday. Villa 0, Chelsea 2. But how many times is he going to be offside, Nathan? That's the sweepstake. Pulisic 1-0, Chelsea 2-0. So you reckon, okay, people back in there. We've got 2-1 Chelsea, says Shah. What else have we got? Any more? 7-2. Well, yeah, we have done a 7-2 over Liverpool before, so there we go. Hi, June. Thank you for tuning in. Shamar's going in with a big 7-2 Villa. And Shah is asking, what is our Villa form recently? Listen, you can see it on the screen, hopefully. It's really frustrating me, our home form. But, Sam, we've got 10,000 Villa fans there. And we are sometimes our worst enemies at Villa Park. And we can put our team off. We can really boo, jeer. We can, get frustrated at every loose pass, every poor decision. But we can also be that 12th man. And if the Villa faithful come, like I know they can, and sing their hearts out, and that whole end is rocking, I think you might find it a difficult experience. And what you can see here is we drew with Everton at home, we lost to Man U, we drew with West Brom at home, and we lost to Man City. And we have leaked goals. Chelsea away form, Sam, you'll want to touch on that, is impeccable, isn't it? Like, it's absolutely unbelievable under Thomas Tuchel, because you haven't lost away in the Premier League under Thomas Tuchel. So is that a sign? Is that an omen? Do you think it's going to continue? I mean, why is it you're so good away from home as well?
I honestly could not tell you. The thing is, I don't know whether sometimes people feel more pressure playing at home. I know obviously we've not had fans or anything like that, but because you are at the Bridge, it is so iconic for a lot of the Chelsea players coming through. Maybe that's part of the reason that we've lost. And to be honest, if you look at the 2 games we have lost in the league, obviously we lost 1 game against Porto in the leg, but to be fair, it was an overhead kick in the 92nd minute. What more can you do? We still went through. But you look at the 2 games, and they are very much complete anomalies. You look at the game against West Brom, Thiago Silva was sent off in, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Which is, a complete anomaly for Thiago Silva, always the professional. He's been sensational other than against West Brom this season. And the other one was that Arsenal game. And that Arsenal game really, really gave them the kick up the backside that they needed to come back the next week. And obviously in the FA Cup final, they were poor as well. But it has given them the kick up the backside they needed. They showed against Leicester that they wanted it more. They wanted that win more the other day. And so I think it's just a matter of one-off games rather than one form being poorer than the other. I think if we were at the Hawthorns, we'd have still lost that game. I don't think it'd have made a difference. It is just a matter of if Chelsea can keep the players not fit, but playing well and have the right mentality, then they can easily wipe aside a team such as Villa or any team for that matter. We've seen them beat City this season. We've seen them beat Liverpool this season, Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid. The sky's the limits if they get their mentality right, and that's the main thing for Chelsea.
Wow. Sam's defended his Chelsea team, and Colin said Chelsea will bottle it. And Shah saying I think Villa can do better. Listen, I haven't given my score, and I genuinely, I don't know, guys. There's part of me thinks don't be deluded here. Chelsea are going to walk over Villa and be realistic. But I'm going to hold on to the fact the fans are there. I'm going to hold on to the fact that the question is as well, and I don't like to sort of say this out loud, but is this Jack Grealish's last game at Villa Park in front of Villa faithful and his only chance to say goodbye? I don't want that to happen. I don't think it will happen, but that is a thing you have to think about. I think the bloke needs to put on a show as well, because I know I keep banging on about one player, but this Euros competition, he needs to prove to Southgate that he's a starter, that he's a main man, that he's someone. And he's missed so much football. Why not do it on a big stage? Villa's record against the Big Six this year has been fantastic. That's another thing that goes in our favour. But what isn't is our home form. And again, Chelsea's like a Man United to Aston Villa. We just can't seem to beat Chelsea. We managed to get a draw at the Bridge this season, but we've obviously lost, numerous occasions against Chelsea, and our actual last win against Chelsea goes all the way back to 2014 when we won 1-0. So again, Chelsea's very much a Manchester United sort of type team that we really struggle against. But Sam, my score prediction: Aston Villa 2, Chelsea 1. Chelsea crashed out of the Champions League, and Liverpool and Leicester qualify. I've just got that feeling.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell. And it's been fantastic. It's been shared. I mean, it's great to see. I'd like to know, finally, people then. We've given ours predictions. Mine saying that it will be Liverpool 3rd, Leicester 4th, Chelsea 5th. Sam's prediction would make Chelsea 3rd.
Yeah, it's just the same order as now.
Yeah, and Leicester miss out. Let me know, guys. Let me know quickly in the comments for Sam and I just to divulge into. And that has been a very interesting prediction show because it's not where football is one of those things where not everyone agrees. People have different opinions, and of course, it's going to be a close one. The annoying thing is for me, Sam, there's no relegation scrap this year.
I was thinking that.
We're not going into the final game of the season thinking who's going down, who's staying up. That chop and changing. All eyes are just on those places. And actually, Rob's just gave up a really good point here. Chelsea don't really give up 2 goals very often. They don't, Rob.
Unless you're West Brom.
Unless you're West Brom. Hey, it's a Midlands thing. Chelsea don't like the Midlands. So, who knows. But
they did draw against Wolves, actually, as well.
Yeah. There we go. Starting to doubt again. We're finding factors.
Oh, no.
But Rob's made a good point. Chelsea, they don't let up points. They don't let up goals, and they've got a fantastic record. But maybe agent Tammy Abraham could score an own goal or something and say, screw you, Thomas Tuchel.
Do you really think he's going to be on the pitch?
Yeah. Well, no, I don't.
He's more likely to be on the pitch for you than us.
That's what I meant. I don't know. Quick last minute deal. But and Josh, who do you want to win between Chelsea and Aston Villa? Well, Jonathan, I've just given my brave scoreline prediction. I'm already doubting it, but I went, Jonathan, 2-1 to Aston Villa. Of course, got to back my boys. And so that's been that. And the Premier League season, all these predictions. I'm sure we're gonna look back and probably laugh at how wrong we were and how surprised we were. It'd be good to compare them. And a once man once said, except West Brom. Poggy Games is saying that. And a wise man, I think you meant to say. A wise man once said, except West Brom. Look, big up West Brom. Maybe Big Sam can give us some tips on how to beat Chelsea. That would be good.
Get rid of Thiago Silva. That's the way.
All right, we can do that. Chelsea would rather have Alisson up front instead of Timo Werner. I mean, why not? So at least he knows how to stay on side. No Champions League for Chelsea 2021-2022, says Jordan Spence. Yes, Jordan. Loving that from Jordan. And that's Crystal Palace 2, Liverpool 1, says Shamar. Look, guys, it's been an absolute blast. And of course, if you've got any more last-minute comments, then of course, do get them in because we would love to know your thoughts on everything going forward. Sam, my final sort of comment to you then, and sort of final thought that I want to leave you on is this really, is that do you think this Premier League season has been a good season for entertainment value? Do you think it's been a poor season? Do you think it's been one that has had to adapt and overcome because of COVID? How do you feel about this season in general?
Well, I think actually, for the most part, it's made it more of an even playing field. Obviously, City have now dominated towards the back end. But if we remember, City weren't in any of those beginning title races. If you remember, it was Spurs versus Liverpool. It was Everton versus Aston Villa. It was Southampton for 12 minutes. And it was Chelsea as well at some point. So I definitely think it's made it a more even playing field. And it's almost good to see. Obviously, Man City has too much depth to ever compete with. And Chelsea have spent however many million and stuff like that. So they've had a lot of depth, which is obvious to see from the teams. But for the most part, it has been absolutely fantastic. And how many years do we get a team such as Aston Villa beat the reigning champions 7-2? That isn't often, and that is because of the lack of turnaround for the lack of time between the turnaround. Yeah,
it's crazy, and I'll miss it. I think it was going to be a crazy transfer window as well coming up, but with fans back in the ground, you just can't beat it. I can't wait for them to be back. Mason Mount is a poor man's Curtis Jones. Dear Cole. Jonathan said, Josh and Sam, thank you for being great lads this season. Hope you both come back next season. I'm sure we will be, Jonathan. And of course, make sure you check out our streams on Sunday. Get the notification bells turned on. I am going to put in Sam's stream in the here now and see what happens. And I've just missed a comment from Scott. My mouse doesn't want to work. There we go. I'm going to say thank you for everything you have done for me. No problem, Scott, at all. I just want to say thank you to you for tuning in to all the streams and channels. It's been an absolute pleasure, all the community. I agree with Scott. Thank you for your watching on a show like this. No problem, Rob. Again, we'll have the one big finale going into this season on Sunday, which of course you'll be there. And of course, we've got the Euros. So listen, without you guys, we wouldn't be able to enjoy our shows like we do. And I do thank you. I have just now put in Sam's channel in, of course, my description. So if there's anyone in here who hasn't subscribed to Sam, please make sure you do so, because I'd really appreciate that, guys.
And if there's anyone in my stream who isn't already subscribed to Josh, go over and subscribe to him.
Yeah.
We're all a big community here, aren't we? And
absolutely.
We don't know yet, do we, Josh, whether we're going to be doing a joint thing or whether we're going to be doing our separate things on Sunday, but we will keep you guys up to date. So if you aren't already following us on Twitter or whatever, go down onto our socials. Mine are in my description. I'm sure Josh has his Twitter in his description as well, and keep an eye out for there as well. And that'll really, really keep you up to date. And then we can let you know what's going on and get you excited as well.
Absolutely. And I think it's been a good Premier League season really this year. Definitely been interesting for the smaller teams. I've got to agree with that as well. And yeah, big up to everyone. And as I said, the watch longs, they have been top tier, and it's been fantastic. I've enjoyed them so much. And listen, the Euros are coming up. We'll be hitting them thick and fast. They're not over. It's just sad the Premier League season is coming to an end, because it's been fantastic. It's been great to have you on here. And just thank you, as always, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, for all the support. And Jonathan said, I'm going to miss you both, lads. We're not going anywhere, Jonathan. Don't you worry. We'll be around, Jonathan. We'll be keeping the streams going. But we're going to wrap this up, guys. As I said, we've put those links into the streams. Make sure you smash the subscribe button. And listen, Sunday, I want you all joining into our streams, getting involved, keeping the chats flowing. For me personally, tomorrow I will be doing 2 streams. My cricket has been called off already on a Friday. Wow, early decisions. So another game off. I think I'm feeling the La Liga in about 5 o'clock, because could Atletico Madrid steal the title away from Real and Barca? We'll have to find out. And potentially I might do the Brentford-Bournemouth playoff second leg semi-final. Because I'm not going to lie to you guys, Swansea-Barnley was a bit of a drab fest, and don't fancy watching that.
It was.
It really was. So, I don't know if I can put myself through that again at 6:30 as well. But there we go. Yes, do subscribe to Real Tom Productions as well if you haven't done so already. And of course, any other lads in here who have got a channel, big up. Cheers, guys. Have a fantastic night. Have a safe weekend, and we'll see you on our next streams and videos. Go well, guys.
See you later.
See you on the next.